Hi, guys, and welcome to this brand new podcast for this week. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody who's in the live chat right now, and everybody that's going to be joining us later on. Let me make sure there's no sound coming from anywhere else. All right. We've got a fun show for you today, hopefully you enjoy it with us a little bit. But before we get started, let me first welcome back my co-host, Kushal Mehra. Kushal, welcome back.
Namaste Sham, namaste everyone. Hope everyone is having a good time. Let's get started.
Okay, so the first topic was something that you felt quite strongly about. So I'll let you talk about it, but let me just introduce it really quick. So for people that might not be aware, Javed Akhtar just won a prize from a very prominent atheist in the United States, in the world, I think in general. So this is Richard Dawkins who made the announcement. He said, Javed Akhtar is the 2020 Richard Dawkins Award winner, and I could not be more pleased. The Center for Inquiry, on whose board I sit, has designated him this year's recipient for his courageous public stance on behalf of atheism, rationality, and free thought. So, Kushal, I know you had a lot of thoughts on this, so I'll let you take the lead on this story. Why don't you give us some of your thoughts on this?
All right. So before we actually dissect what I'm going to be doing basically in the next 5 to 7 minutes, I want to make one point very clear. My objection is to the framing of the tweet itself. What has he been given the award for? So let us clarify that, and then we can speak about everything.
Perfect.
He's been given an award for his contribution to atheism, free thought, and rationality, right? These are the three things that Dawkins has tweeted about.
Right.
Now that we have confirmed what Dawkins has tweeted about, let us go ahead and clarify one more thing, that Dawkins has not said that he's been given an award for being a prolific lyricist. He's not been given an award for his work with Salim Saab, when he used to be the part of the famous Jodi of Salim Javed. So he was not given the award as a story writer in Indian cinema or a lyricist in Indian cinema. He has been given an award for spreading atheism, free thought, and rationality. Now, if the award is given for these three things and not his work in films, so the first question we should ask everyone is, can anybody remember anything in his lyrics and his story writing where he has promoted atheism, free thought, and rationality?
Yeah.
Can anyone remember anything? I mean, we've all grown up. See, Salim Javed basically came into prominence through what? Amitabh Bachchan? Pretty much the angry young man. We all know, right? The angry young man was Amitabh Bachchan coming up, and the entire. I mean, if you are an Indian, you know how Salim Javed came up.
Yeah.
So for the ignoramuses, Salim was basically, I think, Salman Khan's father, right?
Yeah.
And Javed was Javed Akhtar. So this was the Jodi, and this duo used to write a lot of films, and basically from there they came up. Now Javed Akhtar is, I think, the son of Janisar Akhtar, a famous Indian writer and public figure. So now, from what I remember, Janisar Akhtar was a known communist, right? If I remember, if my memory serves me correctly. So Janisar Akhtar was a known communist. Now
Javed Akhtar has also campaigned for Kanhaiya Kumar, so he's been far from the tree.
So let us now look at what. Now the first question. See, all I tweeted was in my entire tweet. See, I'll tell you how I got triggered. I just want to put it on record. I
feel like this show needs to make like a special graphic with sound every time somebody says the word triggered, and the triggered graphic comes on the screen. I feel like we need to develop something like that.
Yeah, we should. Actually, maybe we should. I'll look it up again. Yeah, my internet pe dekhta hu. So what bothers me is that I respect Richard Dawkins a lot. I'm not the kind of atheist Richard Dawkins is. So Richard Dawkins has been on record and saying that he is what he calls a militant atheist. Militant not in the real sense of violence, but militant as in being very anti-theism. Now, I'm not an anti-theistic guy. I don't even call myself an atheist. Now, I might have a lot of things that overlap with what is a neo-atheist in the West. But the point is, Richard Dawkins as a scientist, Richard Dawkins as an atheist, as a social reformer, it has some fantastic contributions to the world, not just his own society. I mean, his books like The Selfish Gene, the Extended Phenotype, or The God Delusion, and many more books. I mean, he's written, I think, 10 plus books. I mean, he's even written a book for atheism for kids. I mean, if people don't know, he's written that many books. And his work is unblemished. I think his contribution is amazing. But here we are talking about Javed Akhtar. Now, I have been directly, indirectly, whatever, in the business of what they loosely call skepticism, at least in India, at a ground level too, about talking to kids who are skeptics, who reach out to me for a good decade plus now. I have done hardly anything for promotion of skepticism in India. And I think I have done more than Javed Akhtar. So that's my point. First of all, Javed Akhtar's contribution to rationalism is that much as mine in the 10,000 plus runs that Sachin Tendulkar has scored for Indian cricket team. I'm sorry.
What are they basing it on? Do you know what they're basing it on specifically? Or have they said that this is what specifically he has done for rationality
I have
in
been
India?
asking this question. Okay, so let us now take concrete examples, because this bothers me no end. Okay, so one of the things was he has promoted what? Free thought. So what is part of free thought, Sham? We will agree it is part of free thought is promoting freedom of expression.
Yes.
You agree? Okay. So let us look at this screenshot. The best part is the man has not deleted the tweet even till today. I mean, you have to give it to the man. So on January 15th, 2013, what has Javed Akhtar tweeted? The female police. So just to give everybody a background of what this tweet is about. So if you guys remember, I think it was in 12 or 13, there was a huge gathering of, I think, around 50,000 Muslims who had gathered in Mumbai, South Bombay, near CST and Azad Maidan and all those areas. And they had actually ransacked the entire place. This was in the NCP Congress government, if you guys remember. And they broke a lot of properties. And at that time, a female police officer, right? She had written a poetry about the rioters. And she had expressed her thoughts. Now, you can agree with her thoughts. You can disagree with her thoughts.
Yeah.
What does the promoter of free thought say here?
Yeah.
The female police officer who has written an outrageously communal poem has to be sacked. This kind of mindset should not be tolerated. Is this gentleman for free speech?
Yep.
This is promotion of free speech in India. This is promotion of free thought in India. Yep. As if this was not enough. Okay. I mean, you have to say Anand Ranganathan is a gift that keeps giving, because Anand, you know what? He has a habit of creating these amazing Twitter threads. Yep. So the best source was Anand. So I just went to Anand's thread. So Anand starts, the best one is, frankly, I'm tired of Mr. Javed Akhtar using Muslim fundus ad infinitum. Neat way to sidestep etymology and criticism of the holy book. These are valid
points. This is a very good point. This is a very good point, though. I think that people kind of miss in the West, and a lot of these atheists miss in the West, because they say, oh, look, so-and-so and so is such a free thinker in India because he's found this one crazy Muslim fundamentalist, and he is saying, oh, that person is very bad. But they'll do that, but very few of them will actually go about and be like, all right, now let's talk about why so-and-so Muslim fundamentalist actually talks like this. Like, they don't, very few of them, if at all, address the underlying ideology.
So look at him. And on Salman Rushdie, Anand has used him in quotes. You cannot speak in a derogatory manner, write dirty things about those who are revered by billions. Wait, what? That's promoting free thought?
So just to give context to this clip, I believe what he said was that I think Salman Rushdie should be able to write whatever he wants, but at the same time, he should not be making fun of or writing.
Oh, yeah, this was when he was going to be invited to the Jaipur Lit Fest.
Yes. Yes.
This is when everybody was opposing. Yaad nahi hai, Shahid Siddiqui was like, we will not let him come.
Yes.
You remember that time?
Yes.
If there ever was a case of monkey balancing, this my friend, is monkey balancing. Yep. So look at this. Preaches the word on misogyny, fundamentalism, bigotry, refers to Manusmriti, never once condemns Iqbal, Sir Sayyid for their appalling views, never quotes an egregious verse from the holy book, snares the fundamentalists, spares the fundamentals. And that is true.
Yep.
That is true. Tell me one occasion where Javed Akhtar has picked up the verses of the Quran and said, this chapter, this verse. I mean, I can give you a very open example, right? Yeah. I mean, you have the Surah Nisa, right? Everybody knows that verse. It clearly says wife beating.
Yeah.
Where is Javed Akhtar's unabashed condemnation of that?
Yep.
As if that was not enough, here come the ex-Muslims, the experts on everything Indian. Why?
Before we get to that, I wanna quickly say as well, like, people need to remember that Javed Akhtar was very, very vocal in 2002 as well, of painting it of, like, feeling very bad for the Muslims. He came out and openly said that this was a pogrom. What happened against the Muslim was horrible, and not a word about what happened in Godhra as well. Like, if this is a person who genuinely cares about, I feel like free inquiry,
see his love
free
for
spirit.
poor people. Look at
Yeah.
his love for poor people. Look at his love. ये उसने क्या डिजाइन किया पता है? ये बर्थडे केक है शबाना आजमी का.
Yeah.
What is this? झोपड़पट्टी के design. He has designed slums in it.
Yep. And another thing that I feel like Javed Akhtar does very often is that monkey balancing that you were talking about. So another example of that is whenever he'll talk about an organization like Simi or another super radical Islamist organization, he'll immediately say, well, Simi is bad, but Bajrang Dal and VHP are equally bad. And look, I have no qualms in saying that some of the shit that Bajrang Dal does is absolute bullcrap. And they should be very heavily condemned. Like, who you can love, who you can hang out with, and where you can hang out with them on Valentine's Day is nobody's business but those people's business. So what Bajrang Dal does, going around beating people up for wearing jeans and hanging out with their boyfriends or girlfriends, is horrible. And that should be roundly condemned and shunned by the Indian culture and the Indian population. But Bajrang Dal is not Simi. Bajrang Dal is not PFI. VHP is not going around chopping off professors' hands for saying something about Sri Ram. VHP is not going around murdering people like Ramalingam for stopping conversions. VHP is not doing that. So when you say, oh yeah, VHP is also bad and Simi is also bad and these guys are also, don't put PFI in the same category as VHP. That kind of horrible monkey balancing helps nobody. It does not help the conversation. It does not help us discuss the ideology behind PFI and discuss the people behind PFI in an honest manner. So kahan hai? Where is the rationality is what I'm trying to ask.
See, there is no rationality. It is all politics. It is all, it is all signaling to your tribe. It is, see, this is what I say. And that's why, and eventually that would be part 3 of this discussion, where I actually wanted to talk about something very solid. And I think very few of us, I include you in that and a few other friends in that, who actually do think on those lines. But now I want to talk about the next part. Yes. And honestly, this bothered me more than Javed Akhtar getting the award. What bothers me is, boss, who are these ex-Muslims?
Yeah.
तुम हो कौन भाई? अरे मैं seriously, तू है कौन भाई? तेरे को क्या मालूम है इंडिया के बारे में? What do you guys know about India? You guys, just because of your brown skin, have now become the experts on India. Yeah. I will ask you 5 questions about Bombay Municipal Corporation. You don't know anything. I know more about your bloody country than you know about my country. So with due respects, I know more about your religion than you know about my religion, because I read your bloody religious books. You don't read our books. So at least be, oh, Javed Saab is amazing. What Javed Saab is amazing? Because you saw his movies.
Yeah.
And even in his movies, which gods was he making fun of? Let us dissect his movies. Sholay. Remember the scene? Hema Malini आगे थी, धर्मेंद्र शिव जी के पीछे थे, भगवान जी बन रहे थे. एक काम करो, ये जरा अपने रिलीजन का सीन बना के बताओ. दूसरा सीन
इस खुश तो बहुत हो गए तुम फ्रॉम अ जावेद अख्तर फिल्म.
नहीं, वो यस, वो दीवार थी. वो दीवार थी, मगर उसमें भी नास्तिक क्या था? नास्तिक अमिताभ बच्चन जो बना था, नास्तिक किससे बात कर रहा था? मूर्ति से बात कर रहा था. हिम्मत है दिखाने की. दूसरे वाला नास्तिक
मॉस्क में खड़ा होके बोल दे खुश तो बहुत हो गए तुम.
फिर क्या मतलब मजाक लगा के रखा है. You think we are that stupid? You think we are that stupid? And yes, this hypocrisy of these people should be called out. There are some people like us who call shit out on a daily basis. And make no mistake, if I see something happening in the Hindu side, I'll be the first person to call it out.
Yeah.
I will call it out. But make no mistake, these people pretend to be neutral.
Yes.
That's what bothers me.
Yes.
I don't pretend to be neutral. I'm very open about my political leanings and my ideological leanings. I try to be as objective as I can in spite of that.
Yeah.
These people have this, veil of neutrality. And then you have ex-Muslims. Ex-Muslims will teach us Indian politics now. Oh, यार घर पे बैठो दूध पियो तुम लोग, हमको मत सिखाओ हमारी पॉलिटिक्स क्या है. तुम अपना संभालो, हम अपना संभालेंगे. And after that you have the gall to tell us. And this typical ex-Muslim tactic every time. And I have to make this comment here about the Hindu side also. What garbage discourse, yaar. I mean, you want to attack someone, at least attack them on basic logic, yaar. So many of our own side just make the most ridiculous comments. And you know what they do? They will cherry pick the horse shit.
Yes.
And quote tweet the horse shit.
Yes.
This is what happens. So let's assume an ex-Muslim makes a comment.
Right.
I quote tweet, you quote tweet. Right? Ignore.
Yes.
They are too sensible. Why should we engage with them, right? Why should we call them on our channel and have a man-to-man debate or a woman-to-woman or a woman-to-man debate, right?
Right.
That's too, that's meh. We will pick the lowest common denominator in the Hindutva side, and believe me, there are enough.
We're gonna retweet those guys. And then we're gonna make the claim. Another claim that I hear all the time is that these Hindu people, these Hindu lowest common denominator are exactly the same as the Muslim lowest common denominator. And that is also not the truth. That is also not the truth. People are free. People like Javed Akhtar, who are getting these awards for atheism and rationality, they are thriving in India. They don't have to hide who they are. They don't have to walk around saying that, no, I'm a believing Muslim, and then in the closet make a false YouTube account, call themselves something else, and then make videos about principles of Islam. Principles of Hinduism, whatever. They don't have to do any of that stuff. They can live freely. Yes, there are Chutia people in India, without a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt. I got so many abuses on my video when I said people in India should have the freedom to abuse whichever god they want. They should have complete freedom. Freedom ka matlab hota hai ki you have to give up certain things. And one of the things that you have to give up, one of the costs of living in a free society, is that your most cherished ideas and beliefs will be challenged, and there isn't a damn thing you can do about it. That is the cost of living in a free society. So just for saying that, Instagram pe, YouTube pe khub galiyan padi hai mujhe. People have called me some names and all that kind of stuff.
Dhimmi ho tum.
Exactly. So I understand that people still are having trouble in India wrapping their head around the cost of living in a free society and the idea of free speech. I get it. But the lowest common denominator in Hinduism is not the bloody same as the lowest common denominator in Islam. They are poles apart. बहुत अंतर है उनमें. इंडिया में एथीस्ट जो हैं, इंडिया में जो लोग हैं जो हिंदुइज्म को गाली देते हैं, बड़े आराम से जी रहे हैं. Nobody has gone to Devdutt Patnaik's house and tried to murder him. Look at the things he has said on Twitter.
Yes.
So that is the thing that pisses me off.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah.
And that's how it should be. And let me tell you very openly here, there is an asymmetry. Acknowledge the asymmetry.
Yes.
Criticizing Islam is not the same as criticizing Hinduism.
Yes.
It is far easier. Have people forgotten that there was a book called The Kali's Child in India? What was that book? Has anybody read that book? I mean, I read that book. That was some piece of work, by the way. That was some serious booga.
Right.
Kali's Child. That was some serious booga. I mean, that was secular booga.
Right.
So there is religious booga, then there is secular booga. That was secular booga.
Right.
But the point is, you have used the right words. That is the cost of freedom. And I am willing to pay that price. You know what? Because it is the same freedom that will be granted to each and every one of us.
Yes.
And I'm sorry, if we look at an objective way and we measure what Javed Akhtar has done, and this is no commentary on Javed Akhtar, the human being. I'm sure he must be a great human being. I have no qualms about Javed Akhtar at a personal level. But I'm sorry.
He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as a skeptic personally, who,
Yes.
and you know what? I mean, you know it. I speak about it offline with you. I try to do something for skepticism in India.
Yeah.
I know many real good skeptics. You know who could have been given the award again and again and again? That Sanal guy sitting in Europe, जो भाग गया इंडिया से 295A के केस ठोक ठोक के चर्च ने उसकी बजा दी. Now that guy is someone who actually did something to promote rationality in India.
Right.
That imagine this
So
award is
tell
given
people
to
who don't know who that is,
So
just to give a
he's
little
a, he's
context.
a rationalist, and he was a Christian from a Christian background, and he used to question all religions. By the way, he has questioned Hinduism, Christianity, Islam, everything. But when he started questioning Christianity, boy, the church went after him using 295A like anything, and then he went to Finland. And now he works from Finland,
Right.
and he does a lot of things. But my point is, look, there are people like us who live here and work within the laws, and we try to question. And by the way, I am very consistent. I don't like the while I personally support their right to do it, I don't like the anti-theistic way of being very cheap and nasty with religion. That's my personal taste. But do they have the right to do that? They do. But the point
And you know,
is,
I feel like criticism and comedy can take all kinds, right?
yeah.
There are some kinds of comedy that will appeal to some people and won't appeal to other people. I feel like that's probably the same way with that kind of critique as well.
So here's what I wanted to propose, and I wrote a small thread about it yesterday, and I'm going to share that thread with everyone. These are raw thoughts. I have not developed them.
Right.
So this is what I was thinking. So for what I was saying is, we need to basically create a matrix, an objective standard. So this is the thread that I had written. We have to create an objective standard of who is a fair commentator in India. So these are the 5 points that I think, if you keep on making these points on various platforms all the time in India, then I believe you're slightly objective in India, considering our socio-political cultural realities. So number 1 was, you should call out casteism and misogyny in Hindu society, whether scriptural or cultural or societal or political. You should call it out. Then when it comes to Islam, you should call out the misogyny, violence, homophobia, and exclusivity. All of them. When it comes to Christianity, the dirty conversion that they indulge in and the homophobia in Christian society. These are not that, again, I want to clarify, it's not that what is mentioned for point 2 is not in point 1 and point 3. But the point here is, the lens I'm using is the lens of the community negationism. So Hindus try to negate the above 2 points the most.
Yeah.
Muslims try to negate the 4 points the most.
Yes.
Christians try to negate these 2 points the most. That they will be like, no, hum to dirty conversion nahi karte. No, hum to homophobic hai nahi. They try to do this the most. 4 is, you should call out the violence, hypocrisy, and yes, I repeat, anti-Hindu bigotry in the left wing. There is a left wing anti-Hindu wing. They just hate Hindus.
Oh, definitely.
And we should call out the rubbish economic policies in the non-left, because I think non-left के हिसाब से तो भाई हमारी economic policies तो सारी दुनिया की सबसे अच्छी हैं. And yes, there is a latent anti-Muslim bigoted wing in the non-left. They are as anti-Muslim as it gets, and it's nauseating. Let me be. If this is the matrix that I'm proposing, if you are someone who works in this matrix, where you call, basically it's saying calling balls and strikes on all these issues. If you are consistently calling in this matrix that I am saying, I believe you're a fair commentator in India.
Yeah.
And tell me, who does it on the left?
I can't think of anyone. I genuinely can't think of anyone.
Zero.
Yeah.
Does Javed Akhtar do that?
No.
He doesn't?
No. Javed Akhtar, as he said, as Anand Ranganathan says, that he snares the fundamentalists, spares the fundamentals. Yeah. I haven't seen Javed Akhtar writing as eloquently as he does in his movies. I haven't seen him writing too much about, atheistic ideals and why he's an atheist and what he feels about the ideology of the religion that he used to belong to before he left it. Like, if he could verbalize those thoughts or put those thoughts on paper and distribute it to a wider audience, I think, wouldn't that be a much better furtherance of rationality than what he's doing right now? I feel like that would be a much better use of his rationality.
Very, very simple thing, Sham. There are 100 crore Hindus, right, in India, as per current numbers.
Right.
Assuming, okay, we will take care of our own problems.
Right.
Let people who are out of Muslim societies take care of their own problems.
Hmm.
I am willing to translate the God delusion in Hindi for free.
Yeah.
And I will go to every Hindu house and distribute the copy of the God delusion, okay, as part of the campaign of promoting free thought, rationality, and criticism of religion. By the way, the God delusion is freely available in India. Also, for the record, people can vouch for it. I have conducted book reading sessions at least 7 years ago of the God delusion via Skype, and I used to do it again and again. And if somebody has any doubt, I even might have the recordings of those things, and I can fucking post it online. I used to, and all the people who used to read the book with me were believers. You know why I used to do it? Because I used to tell believers, you should know the atheistic argument.
Right.
So do a Purva Paksha with me. I will teach you their argument. And I used to teach them the argument. People who are part of it can vouch for it that Kushal went through chapter by chapter. 7 years ago, I used to do this. I recommend Javed Akhtar. There is already a Urdu translation available on the Dawkins website. Javed Akhtar should enhance that translation because he's a great writer, one of the best in India. That I'll give him credit for. Amazing Urdu writer. Javed Saab, जरा अनुवाद करिए और मुसलमानों में गॉड डिल्यूजन जरा बेचिए और आप इन्वेस्ट करिए. आपके पास बहुत सारे पैसे हैं. 10,000 कॉपीज लीजिए उर्दू की जावेद साहब and please distribute it amongst good young Muslim kids. You know, I do it. And by the way, the irony of it all, you know who should have received this award? If ever an Indian Muslim should have received an award for actually promoting free thought in India, it is Arif Muhammad Khan.
Yes.
Who stood up for Salman Khurshid? It was a believing Muslim, Arif Muhammad Khan, son of this soil. Is mitti ke sapoot hai wo. Indian Muslim, our Muslim.
Right.
He
Salman
stood
Rushdie,
up.
I think you meant.
Yeah, Salman Rushdie ke liye wo khade hue the. If you remember, he was the one who said, no, Salman Rushdie should be allowed to come to the Jaipur Lit Fest. यार क्या बात कर रहे हो? ऐसे लोगों को आवाज दो ना, ऐसे लोगों को प्रमोट करो. आपने बेसिकली क्या है मालूम है? It is easy to shit on Hinduism in India. It should be allowed. I think Hinduism has tons of problems. But I will not respect a person who is too cowardly to comment on their own religion.
Yeah.
Boss, I know atheists, I don't want to take names here, who are closeted Muslim atheists and tell me, bhai, great job. We can't do it in our community. अगर screenshots खोलने शुरू कर दिए ना मैंने, इंडिया में रह रहे हैं ये लोग. अब मैं उनकी सिक्योरिटी के लिए कुछ करता नहीं हूं, मैं बोलता नहीं हूं, क्योंकि I care for them, they are my people. Point है, ये बकवास बंद करो. और Razib, you know, Razib Khan actually made a very beautiful tweet. He's like, do you know why more Bangladeshi atheists die than Pakistani atheists?
Yes, I read that. You should pull that tweet up. That's a very good tweet if you have it.
Actually, I think
it's a smart tweet. Yeah.
I think that was such a subtle and amazing observation by Razib.
Yeah.
And the moment Razib said it, and people don't just in case you don't know who he is, he's a scientist. He's Bangladeshi origin, but he's an American. I mean, basically, बड़ी छोटी आयु में चले गया था अमेरिका में. Amazing scientist. You should actually follow him on Twitter if you guys don't. So I'll just share the tweet. I've pulled it out. This is the point, and I think Razib hit the nail on the head. Razib said the reason apostates are killed in Bangladesh but not Pakistan is that Bangladesh is liberal enough culturally that non-believers have some room to express their views. In Pakistan, non-believers just stay on the down low. Can I add one more line to this?
Yeah.
Do you know why Bangladesh is liberal? Socho. Everybody knows it because Bangladesh is still more Hindu
than Pakistan.
That is the reality. Bangladesh still has that थोड़ा सा धार्मिक.
थोड़ा सा बचा है. औरतें अभी भी साड़ी पहनती हैं. They speak Bengali a little bit. You know, they still have some kind of love for their cultural artifacts, even though, you know, they hate the Hindus, but jo unki cultural dharohar hai, they still have some semblance of respect for it. So those things play a role. And that's a very good, that is a very good observation. But immediately when I read it, I was like, shit, that makes sense.
Yeah, and Bangladesh is a far more open, plural society in comparison to that shithole that Pakistan is.
Yeah.
Like gutter country, बेकार कंट्री, कोई राइट्स नहीं, कुछ नहीं, और हमको एक्स मुस्लिम्स ऑफ पाकिस्तानी ओरिजिन हमको प्रवचन देंगे.
Yeah.
ओ भाई, अपने देश को संभाल लो, अपनी जगह को
Yeah.
संभालो, हम हमारे देश को संभाल लेंगे.
Yeah.
कितने सारे एथिस्ट, तस्लीमा नसरीन इंडिया में रह रही है, पाकिस्तान में नहीं रह रही.
It's the
And
monkey
she-
balancing. It's the monkey
Yeah.
balancing. It's the
Bakwas.
equating of everything that I don't understand. I feel like some of these ex-Muslims have to almost feel the need to go out of their way to make sure that they're condemning Hindus equally. Because
Maybe-
if they don't condemn Hindus equally, then apparently like they're not good atheists or something like that. Which I don't know what the thinking behind it is, but I just think it's silly. I just think it does not take the ground realities into account.
Because they are part of a new religion. That religion has tenets. The 10 commandments of the new secular religion is, thou shall not leave the Hindu, and thou shall always shit on the Hindu whenever you shit on everything else. You know,
Yeah.
it's like I have seen atheists in the West assuming conservative Hindus have an abortion issue. It's like, what the living fuck?
Yeah.
अरे कौन सा गांजा मारते हो तुम लोग? तुमको कोई इंडियन लॉज के बारे में मालूम है क्या?
Yeah.
इंडिया में कोई इशू ही नहीं है वो.
Yeah.
I mean, I have told
इंडिया
my
में तो
friends,
प्रॉब्लम थी कि कुछ ज्यादा ही अबॉर्शन हो रहे थे. इंडिया had the opposite problem. कुछ ज्यादा ही अबॉर्शन हो रहे थे साला यहाँ पे.
I was like, क्या सठियाए हुए लोग हो क्या
Yeah.
तुम लोग? And this shows that they work off Abrahamic templates. और तुझे मालूम है शाम, मुझे मालूम है, जैसे ही हम इनको Abrahamic atheist बोलते हैं, जो मैं बोलता हूँ,
Yeah.
क्या पिछवाड़े में ऐसी जोरदार लाल मिर्च ऐसे रगड़ लगती है.
But why? Why do you think they feel angry at that claim?
Because they think you're reducing me to a religion. You're reducing me to that one thing I hated the most. Arey Baba, even I am a product of my society's religion. You
Yeah.
know why I am all over the place, even though I am a disbeliever? Because Hinduism is like that. We
Yeah.
can only be the mirror image of the one that we question.
Right.
We end up being like that. That's why I accepted my Hinduness when I realized that. You grow up and you accept it. ये कैसे है मालूम है? ये जो नया वो मुल्ला होता है ना, जो सबसे जोर से नमाज पढ़ता है,
Yes.
नया कन्वर्ट, ये नए एथीस्ट है. ये सबसे जोर से नमाजें पढ़ रहे हैं अपने एथीज्म की.
Right.
ये वही हो रहा है. ये बेसिकली बड़े हो जाएंगे ना, ये मूवमेंट है ना. देखो नियो एथीज्म चालू कब हुआ? डॉकिंस, हैरिस, फिर तुम्हारा डैनियल डेनेट और हिचिंस, ये दो इनके 4 horsemen. These are the 4 horsemen of neo-atheism. So their books came one after the other in a period of 4 to 5 years, right?
Yeah.
Now in a period of 4 to 5 years, there was this assertive atheism. There was atheism always, but you know how it was? It was the Brett Weinstein or my kind of thing.
Yeah.
Leave me alone. Most Gnostics or atheists are actually not anti-theistic, but what happened was they basically have become like a cult now,
Yeah.
and now it has become fashionable to become anti-theistic. But
Yeah.
I mean, there are atheists like Amos Yee. I mean, I find it disgusting. He's humping the Bible, licking the Quran. I mean, what the fuck are you doing, man? I mean, what kind of atheism is this? Who taught you all this?
Yeah.
I mean, we are not like this. And this is why I left that clan. I could not stand it. And this is all a product of that. And my last message to ex-Muslims is, this is an open challenge. All of you together, just me and Sham, just us two, and all of you together, let us debate. Open challenge to all of you. We can discuss Hinduism, scriptural level, not onga ponga level. You have to give me scriptural evidence. You have to tell me which chapter, which verse, which Ved, which Manusmriti, which Parshahara Smriti, which Yajnavalkya Smriti, which अर्थशास्त्र. साला मैं एक बुक निकाल के इनको टेस्ट करूंगा. अगर नहीं है औकात तो चुप रहो, अपना काम करो, इस्लाम पढ़ो. एक बुक पढ़ना आसान है, हमारी 100 बुकें हैं.
Yeah.
That's all. And this is an open invitation.
Yeah.
Your platform, Sham and I will come, we will debate it. Do you see who they call to discuss Hindutva? Have you noticed this?
Who do they call? I haven't been paying attention.
All shit
at all.
speakers who have
All
zero
who?
knowledge. All rubbish speakers who have zero
acha.
knowledge, boss.
Uh,
I mean, what are you doing? Boss, you might want to pander to your left-wing audience, boss, but
Yeah.
don't think that we don't see what is happening. And
Yeah.
again, this is not a commentary on them as individuals.
Yeah.
I am commenting on their intellect and their content. All of them are nice human beings. I know that personally. I have given money to their causes. I
Yeah.
know all of them are good human beings, but that does not mean I will accept intellectual rubbish.
Right.
You don't tell us what Indian politics is. Javed Saab.
Javed Saab. All right. Let's move on and let's talk about something else as well. That I've personally found very interesting. I personally found very interesting this whole issue with statues in the United States. So I don't know how many people have seen this. Let me pull this up so people can see this. That Abhi, a lot of people are aware that there are protests going on in the United States, and as part of these protests, one of the things that has happened is that people have now started removing Christopher Columbus statues. So I think what has happened, Abhi, ads everywhere. I think what has happened is in a bunch of places. So in Boston, you can see they've somebody beheaded the Christopher Columbus statue, and the local authorities are now talking about removing it. Plus, in few other cities as well, Christopher Columbus statues were pulled down, and the basic point was that Christopher Columbus was a racist and was a horrible person, and you know, directly contributed to the genocide of the Native Americans and all of that stuff. So somebody like that should not be celebrated. And now there's also talk of taking down the Confederate statues, and at least publicly funded Confederate statues, and changing the names of some American military bases that are named after Confederate generals and stuff like that. And there's a lot of people in India who are very happy about it, who are celebrating it, that there's like, yeah, down with racists, down with fascism, down with this, down with that. But I'm old enough to remember, Kushal, I don't know if you do, but I'm old enough to remember when these kinds of articles were coming out. So let me share some of these articles and I'll read it out to the audience as well. This is an article right here. Renaming India, saffronization of public places. Then there's another one. There we go. Historians, this is something that historians are saying. Historians say that Aurangzeb Road renaming will open up a can of worms. A section of historians and scholars have criticized the naming of Aurangzeb Road in Lutyens, Delhi, saying it is a result of a slanted view of history, and cautioned that such renaming exercises will open up a can of worms. Then let me pull out one more just to make sure that I really bloody drive this point home. Here it is. Renaming Aurangzeb Road after Kalam is not right. Delhi was inspired by history, not bigotry. So it's hilarious to me that it is the same people that were so opposed to renaming Aurangzeb Road. Aurangzeb, like even Aurangzeb, somebody who was an open bigot, somebody who openly despised Hindus, did not try to hide it, somebody who levied jizya on the non-Muslims because he did not consider Muslims to be equal to the non-Muslims or non-Muslims to be equal to the Muslims. Even that guy's name to be changed from a main street and named after a very progressive Muslim, somebody who has contributed to India's growth in such a significant way, APJ Abdul Kalam, even that was not acceptable to our woke liberals and our historians and our politicians and our commentators. And these are the same people that are like, nahi, hata, get rid of the Columbus statue. So it's amazing to me that the lack of self-awareness some of these people have it's kind of amazing, isn't it?
यार मेरे को तो कुछ समझ ही नहीं पड़ रहा है क्या हो रहा है दुनिया में इस समय. किसी के पुतले गिरा रहे हैं, किसी के पुतले चला रहे हैं. See, I have a very clear way of dealing with this. The moral arch is an ever expanding phenomenon.
Yeah.
What was considered moral 100 years ago might be considered amoral 100 years later.
Yeah.
Now I'll give you an example. Sham, you and I both are meat eaters, right?
Yeah.
Although, for the record, I've been vegetarian now for 3 months. Yes.
Arey, bataiye.
not because
Kashma
I
Bhava.
love vegetarianism.
Right.
I've just quit halal. That's why. And there is no jhatka option right now in the lockdown.
True.
So, sorry. Yeah. So what my point is that I think we should create an objective standard when we judge any kind of personality. So I'll tell you a recent incident that had happened in England also. Now, if you ask me about Winston Churchill, my emotions would be very clear that I don't like him, right?
Right.
But do we deny the fact? I'm trying to be as objective as I can. I'm checking my biases here. I'm consciously trying to check my biases here.
Right.
Because now the atheism is done. Now I can get over that rubbish. Now we can discuss this on a very serious level. Winston Churchill did defeat the Nazis. We cannot deny that. There is a valid argument there. And we are all going to judge our heroes from our past in a tainted way. Now, there was an attempt. Now I'm going to piss a lot of people off here. There was an attempt to taint Gandhi as a racist. I don't think Gandhi was a racist. Yes, those quotes of Gandhi against Africans in South Africa were disgusting.
Yeah.
Anybody can read those quotes, yaar. Anybody can read those quotes. But Gandhi himself changed as a person, right? In his own lifespan. From the early 1920s or whenever he was 1915, whenever Gandhi was there in South Africa, I think it was in the 1920s when Gandhi made those comments, right? You remember they were trying to push Indians down and Gandhi was like, no, but they are Africans. We are different. We are like you. We are Aryans. You remember that? That was the whole Gandhian logic. And that was used by them to paint Gandhi as a racist. Do you really think Gandhi was a racist? Now, I'm not trying to give Winston Churchill a free pass. To me, he was a bigot. Period. End of argument. But I don't think they should have pulled his statue down. Right. Because in the country where Winston Churchill was living, he does represent something. He represents the man who defeated the Nazis. I am sorry, it might piss a lot of postmodern Hindus too.
Right.
But I believe his statue should have stayed on. For two reasons. One, he represents something to a set of people who like him.
Right.
Two, the ones who hate him, he's a reminder that never be like him.
Right.
So I think symbols removing. Yeah, there are Robert Clive statues in India. Yeah. There are Lenin and Mao. There are Stalin and Lenin statues and photos in India.
Right.
Were they paragons of virtue? If you ask me, they are far worse human beings if we were looking at their murder tally than Winston Churchill. I mean, let's get real. But in India, we have it. In India. And then let me tell you.
What I do think though, let me put a point to you that I heard and that I do generally agree with. And this is, I think it applies more to the American context than it does to the Indian context, because I don't think it applies in India that much. It applies in India in a slightly different context. So right now I'm talking about the statues of, let's say, Columbus or Confederate generals. Okay, so talking about those in isolation in America, in an American context, I heard an argument that made sense to me, that if you have Confederate statues paid by the government, maintained by the government, on public land that is owned by the government, that are being maintained and paid for and taken care of by black taxpayer money, that isn't fair.
That I was just going to make that point. Okay. That the government has no business having these statues.
Right.
Even Winston Churchill, by the way. Even Winston Churchill. Right. Like, why should brown people of Indian origin
I was going to make that point.
Pay their own tax money? So that was actually, I was going to make that third point. I was going to propose, if you want to take these statues down, you put them in a museum owned by private people.
Yes, I agree.
Don't break them down and destroy them.
Yes.
Look, should we change road names in India from Aurangzeb to some other road? Yes, because I think Aurangzeb, there are far better Muslims who are representative of Indian Islam than Aurangzeb.
Dara Shikoi ka naam rakh do yaar. Keep it in the same family.
We should have Bulle Shah Nagar.
Yeah.
We should have Baba Farid Chowk.
Yeah.
We should have Sachal Sarmat Road.
Yeah.
I can give you many names. You have given the name of the famous scientists of India. There are many more Muslims. Baba Arif Muhammad Khan.
अब तो के मोहम्मद का भी पढ़ना चाहिए किसी रोड पर नाम.
Yes. वही तो. अरे Arif Muhammad Khan भाई.
Arif Muhammad Khan. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. Arif Muhammad Khan की रोडें बनाओ. There are many great Muslims in India. Aurangzeb was not one. And in Aurangzeb's case, you cannot make any case where he was nice for anything.
Yeah. There's no redeeming quality at all.
Yeah, there is no redeeming quality in Aurangzeb. But was Winston Churchill Aurangzeb? Objectively, do you think he was Aurangzeb? I mean, let's get real. There is no harm in having these discussions.
Yeah.
The problem is that there is a lot of intellectual inconsistency in this. I believe, first of all, statues and stuff like this, every society will have some grand narrative.
Right.
What I see happening in front of my eyes, yes, Confederate racists who are against the idea of America, their statues should be removed and put in a private museum.
Yeah, and if you want to maintain your history, well, fine. It's in a museum. You can go to the museum and you can go see your history there. Like, it's not about removing history, it's about relocating history.
But then should we have taxpayer money being used to make a Shivaji statue?
That's also a very good point. But the thing is, like, but then the argument comes like, did Shivaji believe in what the Confederate generals believed in?
But then what if somebody
advocate something that, well, that's an objective discussion, right? Did Shivaji advocate something that the Confederate generals advocated for?
Not only that, but what if, you know how it is going to be, then Shivaji might go scot-free, but the Peshwas were casteist.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Yeah, that's true.
The Peshwas were casteist. You know what they did to the Mahars, right? They used to make them wear spittoons.
Well, and also weren't there many Union generals that also owned slaves?
Yes.
Union generals, many American presidents used to own slaves.
Yes, first 4 or 5, I think.
Yeah. What do we do?
That's I mean, I honestly don't think Jefferson was that bad, for his time. I mean, Jefferson spoke a lot of great ideas. I mean, imagine a man who removed all the problematic verses out of the Bible and proposed a new Bible without the rubbish.
Yeah.
He was a man far ahead of his time. Now you want to remove his statues too? This is a very problematic, slippery slope, jisko bolte hain.
It is a slippery slope. It's a classic definition of a slippery slope, in my opinion. Like,
I think there is only one man. There is only one man who is an absolute A-grade asshole on every ground. That is Aurangzeb.
Yeah.
Like, Aurangzeb did not even bother. He's like, hold my beer. I will be a proper asshole.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, we have Babar Road and Aurangzeb Road in India. I mean, those are things that I think we need to have an honest discussion about. And
I agree with you. No, I said I agree with you.
Yeah. Yeah, I just think it's tricky, because if you say, okay, let's get rid of the Churchill statue, then where do we go next? Like, where do we go next? Anybody who had any kind of bigoted opinions, should we get rid of their statue as well? You know, those kinds of things. Like, it really does become tricky. Like, it really does become tricky. In India, it becomes tricky. In America, it becomes tricky everywhere. So whose statue can we have?
Yeah, so the whole point is, societies are built on narratives.
Yeah.
Societies are built on a lot of, people may not like what I say, fictions.
Right.
And we agree on these fictions. Like, people may not like it. Human rights are not real.
Yeah.
Actually a fictional concept.
Yeah.
What is human right? It is actually a concept that all of us have agreed on. Okay, seems nice, we agree on it. So even societies at an evolutionary level were built on stories. The story that Shivaji is awesome. The story that Churchill is awesome. You know what's happening in the West? The West has a disagreement on their grand narrative now. Right. They never had it all this time. Now there is a new religion in town in the West. Now that's their problem. I think the West is having a crisis of meaning. And that's what happens. And again, atheists will not like what I'm saying. That is what happens when religion collapses in society. You know what has happened in India? Religion has not collapsed. There is skepticism, but Hinduism had a novel way of dealing with skepticism, and they're like, bring them in. Yeah. That's where Hinduism can give a great contribution to society, to the world actually. But the problem with the West is they became godless. They thought you don't need religion, and then they gave silly arguments like, oh, football can fill the gap, oh, music will fit the gap, oh, my gun club will fit the gap. No, it won't. Religion gives you that extra wow factor, that sense of transcendence. That's what's just look at the rise of irreligiosity and all these problems that are coming in the West, because their grand narrative is unsure now. See, the West was very clear. They had a grand narrative. It is happening far more faster in Europe than in America, but their grand narrative is crushed. Imagine if we look at all the past heroes.
What was the grand narrative according to you in the West before?
I think it was out of a Protestant Christian ethic. It was, at least in America, it was.
Right. So what was the narrative, would you say? Like what changed?
See, I think the American raison d'etre was always freedom and individualism, right? And individualism always stems from that Protestant ethic. It's a very what was Protestantism, right? Their whole Reformation was against the clergymen, against the Catholic Church, the whip of the padri, right?
Yeah.
Basically, the whip of the padri. They're like, my connection to God will be an individual connection. It is not a cumulative connection. And they were like, oh, and then they basically extended that individualism to every place. And then obviously deism was on the rise, and all these great Enlightenment philosophers came and they extended a lot of it, and they basically removed the God out of it. And they thought they could build something without God.
Yes.
Now, I am a disbeliever. So people might be, Kushal, kya baat kar raha tu? But look, I have to be objective. What I see is a crisis of meaning in the West. They lack meaning now. So when they lack meaning, they behave, and I'm just using these examples as I just want to share a few examples because this is genuinely hilarious. And so, when societies lack meaning, they behave like this. And please enjoy.
These weird yellow stars. This feels like the reverse of that. No, I'm not exactly the voice that people need to be hearing right now. In fact, I need more confirmation that this is real. I've gotten some, and I need more confirmation that this is real.
Wait. Listen to this.
Trump supporters got an email. This email is for patriots only. You've been identified as one of President Trump's fiercest and most loyal defenders, and according to your donor file, you'd make an excellent addition to the Trump army. Goes on to tell them that they would get a limited edition camo, Keep America Great hat. To let them know that you are the president's first line of defense when it comes to fighting with the liberal mob.
Holy shit.
Okay, so as if this was not enough, right? This was not enough. So you want to see a crisis of meaning? I'll show you one more example of a crisis of meaning. And these are real problems. People don't realize. People think, I mean, it's funny as hell. But this is... Okay, I'll show you this one. See, this is what happens when...
Yeah, I saw this. Our parents raised this thing. That's such a classic video, man. What a classic video.
This
so
is
what is so obviously the argument from the other side in the West is obviously that we go back to what things were like before. That also probably isn't a solution because it'll again immediately lead to this situation.
I agree. And this is the issue. We need to... I'm not saying I have the answer, Sham. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
I'm not saying for one moment am I saying I have the answers. But I think I have identified the problem.
Kaun se khoon aa gaya?
एक मिनट, अगर कान से खून आया ना तो मैं एक और दिखा सकता हूँ फिर. ऐसा है, मतलब मैंने ये ढूंढा है, मतलब मैं इतने दिनों से ये, मतलब तुम मानेगा नहीं, मैं एक हफ्ते से कान से खून आ गया, अभी कहाँ से खून आएगा ये सुनो. इसे कहते हैं क्लेटन छाप वेल्ले. इसको सुनिए, इंटरव्यू सुन. ठीक है, बहन क्या बोलती है सुन.
In the very short term, there's lessons from state action against our police department, which gives us legal mechanisms in the very short term. There's lessons from all over the country, all over the world that we're looking to take immediate steps while we work toward building the systems that we would need to imagine that future.
Do you understand that the word dismantle or police-free also makes some people nervous? For instance, what if in the middle of the night, my home is broken into? Who do I call?
Yes, I mean, I hear that loud and clear from a lot of my neighbors. And I know, and myself too, and I know that comes from a place of privilege, because for those of us for whom the system is working, I think we need to step back and imagine what it would feel like to already live in that reality, where calling the police may mean more harm is done. And so we have a...
when you lose religion, when you lose meaning in life, this is what you become.
Right.
This is exactly what you become when you use garbage arguments.
Right.
Now you ask me what is the solution for this. So in a very funny way, I think I might have a solution too. And which is also stemming right from the great state of Nevada. So I think this made my day more than anything else. What a great man. Just look at this great man. Look at him. Look at him.
Yeah, I see.
Isko dekh.
So for people who will listen to this who can't see this, there's a guy wearing a mask in a casino who has a cigarette stuffed into the side of the mosque, and he's still smoking it. What a boss.
So if you ask me what is the solution, I think getting high is the only solution. That's my solution for the United States of America.
I'm telling you. Mushrooms and LSD is the only solution.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, it is funny because I was talking to Vidu. I'm gonna get him on the show sometime to talk about the Premier League coming back. But I was talking to Vidu about one day going to Brazil and doing some toad venom.
Yeah. So by the way, congratulations to Vidu. Marwa and Vidu are having children.
Oh yeah, look at that! Congratulations, Vidu, if you see this.
Yeah, a lot of love and respect to that guy. He's amazing.
All right, let's come to something that we liked and we hated. But before that, I want to just make sure that I take the super chats that came to us. Okay. So let's see what we had here. Where is it? Okay. So there is one from Satyam Parashar for Kushal. Kushal, do you think they even want to have a healthy debate? Arey, he's calling it Javed Akhtar Bevda. I don't know why, but he's basically asking, Kushal, do you think they even want to have a healthy debate? I think you were talking about the ex-Muslims.
Some of them do, but the ones who are, in the Javed Akhtar Shabash Bete talk on camp. So basically that, no, Javed Akhtar said, Shabash Bete talk on, and sare bolna shuru ho gaye.
Right.
So no, they don't want to have a discussion because they are interested more in the LCD bashing of the Hindus. If they really wanted engagement from decent Hindus, like I'll tell you, one podcast in America talks to decent Hindus on the Hindutva side. That's Brown Pundits. Shout out to the Brown Pundits.
Yeah, shout out to Brown Pundits.
They've invited you. They've invited me again and again. They've invited
They're genuinely open-minded people.
They are genuine people. Omar Bhai, Mukunda, Akshar, Razib, Anand, all those guys, who work behind the scenes in Brown Pundits. Those are real people.
Yeah.
Now, I have many disagreements with Omar Bhai, but I have so much respect for that man. I am willing to listen to what Omar Bhai has got to say. Now, Omar Bhai bhi Pakistan se hai na? I have so much respect for Omar Bhai. Now, I'll tell you, there are two people who constantly reach out. And I don't look at them as ex-Muslims. I look at them as friends. Because in my brain, they are not ex-Muslims anymore. One is Haris, one is Vidu. Yeah. These are the only two people that I have seen who reach out and are interested in having a conversation and interested in understanding. The other is Brown Pundits. I have not seen it with Ali or all the other guys. I'm not saying they're bad people.
Yeah,
I just think they don't.
I would second Vidu and Haris as well. Vidu and Haris, like people in India get really triggered by Haris, especially because
Especially
of the
Haris
posts on his Facebook. But people need to understand that like he's just doing to wind you up. He's literally doing it to wind you up, and you're taking the bait. So congratulations on that. But secondly, also, that's a guy that will listen. If you give him a point, he listens. So, I was on a live stream with him and Vidu one time, and the points that we were having a talk about Kashmir, and that is a guy that if he's presented with credible information, he will listen. So props to those two guys as well, for sure, from me too. This is a very interesting point, and this is the part that kind of makes me a little sad about India's education, and this is a part that also makes me angry at the government. So this is a super chat from Kundan Singh. He says, "Love your work, Sham and Kushal. Please keep going. We need people like you. I'm a UPSC aspirant." I remember this because my friends were UPSC aspirants. I'm a UPSC aspirant and I have to study history by Bipin Chandra and Romila Thapar, still praising Mughals in every sense. It's a dharam sankat for me. That is such a good point. I know so many people who are preparing for government exams who have to read these textbooks, who have to read the Hindu, and who have to constantly, they have to write down in their examinations how nice Babar was, how nice Aurangzeb was. They have to write this stuff down. And that is happening in 2020, 6 years into the BJP's rule, which in 2014, one of the main planks of the BJP was reforming the education sector and reforming the HRD ministry. So it really does make me sad.
Boss, your HRD minister says we are so proud we have not changed one word in the entire textbook. Hashtag Javed for PM.
Javed for PM. Yeah. It's just such a bummer, because these guys, they know what the truth is, but they still have to write something else in their examinations because their course content is something else. Their course content is Romila Thapar. Their core content is Irfan Habib.
Yeah. So I had written a while ago, I had written a post about this on Facebook where I had said that Indian kids are raised in such a weird way, especially Indian Hindu kids.
Yeah.
So they grow up in a house where they're told, Aurangzeb hai na, bada tucha tha. And then they go to school. They're like, itna to tucha hai nahi.
Yeah.
It's like, ye Mughal jo the na, inhone hame bada mara tha. Then they go to school. Mughal to humko khana khila rahe the. Imagine karo, tumhara kya confusion hogi.
Yeah.
I mean, you're confused as hell.
Yeah.
This is the problem. And what do? BJP is awesome. They take pride in the fact that they've not changed the word in history. And look, it is not just that. Where are the scholars? Where are the ones who are researching and writing history?
Yeah. Well, that's the problem, right? I think that's part of the problem, because HRD, like education sector, is such a key thing for sort of the revival of the Hindu idea and the revival of the Hindu civilization and the furthering of the Hindu narrative, whatever you want to call it. But it is such a key component of that. And of course, we praised the BJP when the BJP removed Article 370. We praised it in their role for Ram Mandir. We praised it for triple talaq and all of those things. But at the same time, the education system reforming education is such a key part of this puzzle that till that happens, things are not going to move forward in any meaningful way, at least in my opinion. And jo aap scholars ki baat kar rahe ho, and I agree with that as well. Like, if you keep patronizing people like Irfan Habib and Romila Thapar, and they are the ones with power, they are the ones that are fellows on all major government-owned research organizations, they are the ones in charge of creating the government curriculum still, well, how will other scholars with an Indic perspective, how will they ever go anywhere? What you should be doing is you should be saying, okay, we're going to start recruiting scholars with an Indic perspective. And they are going to be the ones that are going to be helping us write our textbooks from at least from an objective point of view. So,
but my question to you is, where is the scholar with an Indic perspective writing deep research papers and history books on India? Where is that scholar? Okay, name me 5. And then you'll get the answer.
I also think I agree. And I think, but don't you think that's where I think all of these government-run research organizations and all of these people come into play? Because for the longest time, they have hired people and teachers and professors and supervisors and stuff like that that have a very fixed point of view, and they're like, अच्छा अगर आपको भाई शिवाजी के बारे में ऐसा ऐसा लिखना है तो प्लीज रहने दीजिए. Write about Aurangzeb, write about this, write about that. I genuinely don't think that they get the kind of support that they should be getting.
Even you have right now amidst you scholars like Meenakshi Jain. Do an honest analysis how much BJP has used her in the last 6 years.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like, why is she not involved with the HRD ministry on
nothing?
On a
Nothing.
strong
You
basis?
have scholars there who can still write. I mean, Meenakshi Jain's series, visit about on the visitors to India and what they said about us. I think it is 5 or 6 volumes. I don't remember because it's old stuff that I used to read at that time. Fantastic stuff. These are proper research material that we should read.
सीताराम गोयल, इनकी किताबें फ्री में पढ़ी हुई हैं, फ्री में ऑनलाइन पढ़ी हुई हैं, तब भी कितने लोगों ने पढ़ा होगा? कितने लोग जानते होंगे कौन है सीताराम गोयल? कितने लोग जानते होंगे कौन है राम स्वरूप, सुहास मजूमदार, फिर ये आपको NS राजाराम, कितने लोग जानते होंगे? How many people know these people? And these people are some of the greatest minds that this nation has created post independence.
भाई प्रॉब्लम ये है ना कि जब आपको ट्विटर की when you get instant gratification on Twitter, why would you bother about writing a boring history book which hardly anybody is going to read when your entire mal matta and fame is on Twitter? I'm being very honest here. Look, you're not, see, the difference is the left is willing to do the hard yards.
Yeah.
हमारे कल्चर में क्या होता है, बच्चा बड़ा होता है उसको आर्ट्स में नहीं डालते ना. आर्ट्स में इमेज क्या है, निखिद है, तब आर्ट्स में जाएगा.
Yeah.
वही तो प्रॉब्लम है. So I mean, look at, see, Sanjeev Sanyal wrote his books after he became financially reasonably stable, and then Sanjeev wrote his books. Rajiv Malhotra wrote his books, but the problem is neither is Sanjeev a trained historian, neither Rajiv ji has got the credentials. So academic world में तो वो नहीं होएगा ना. तो आपको अगर academic world में घुसना है, you only have one person who is a poet and a scholar in Makarand Paranjpe who's trying his best to promote stuff. Now we see academic work is a different world. You can create 40 tweet threads. That is not going to cut out for real academic work. Academic work is a different world. And how many people in our side, boss, read books?
Yeah.
I mean, how many even read 10 books a year? Let alone 40, 50. 10 books a year. One book a month to padho. 12 to padho saal mein. You don't even do that. And then you say, oh, why don't we do it? Abhi bhai, karte hi nahi hai to koi kya kare? That is the problem.
Yeah, that is a serious problem. And I think it's a real shame. And I think this is the key part of the puzzle. I really do believe so. I think HRD ministry is a key part of the puzzle. I think everything flows from there. अगर आप HRD ministry fix करो, अगर आप लोगों को, if you're teaching people the real history, then people would be immediately much more understanding of the Kashmir issue. Immediately people will be like, okay, I get why we need to get rid of Article 370. Immediately people will be much more understanding of CAA. Immediately people will be like, okay, I understand. Even if I disagree or agree, that's different, but I understand where the government is coming from. Even if you talk about renaming Aurangzeb Road, people will be like, I may agree or disagree, but I understand. That I understand part is still not there, and that will come from the HRD ministry. That's what I think, at least.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so let's come to something we hate and we liked. Kushal, do you want to go first?
Okay, something that I hated. So, I mean, this was so weird. क्या मतलब मैं कंफ्यूज हो गया जब मैंने आर्टिकल की हेडलाइन पढ़ी. ये पॉडकास्ट थी बेसिकली. So, another Western gem. Non-violence is an important tool for protest, but so is violence.
Bhagwan. Oh my God.
मतलब इसको देख के वो सिर्फ वो वाला मीम याद आ गया. कहना क्या चाहते हो भाई?
Yeah.
ये वाला क्या है?
Yeah.
What is this? मतलब what are they trying to do? मतलब कहना क्या चाहते हो? So वैसे कोविड फैल रहा था. Suddenly the protest happened. COVID is okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it. How many, mental gymnastics are going to be done?
Yeah, I'll show you something very interesting as well. Just here we go. Let me just highlight it. I read this because it came onto my timeline somehow. I think I don't know where it came from, but I just saw it on Twitter basically. And this is from an Indian publication called She the People, the Women's Channel. This is called. So let me share.
Oi, kidhar gaya? Instead of sharing, apparently, guys, I'm very sorry. Sham has basically exited himself out of the podcast.
I don't know how I exited the bloody chat.
तूने अपने आप शेयर कर दिया मतलब बहुत हो गया, बहुत गलत आदमी हूं मैं, निकाल दो अपने आप को.
Deleted. I basically deleted myself. Okay, so this is from a magazine called She the People. And so it was talking about, I think Dhruv Rathi made a video about Black Lives Matter. And I think in the video, he basically said that he doesn't agree with violent protests. So they wrote a whole article about how he is wrong and how he's a upper caste, male, Brahmanical chauvinist, but which is hilarious, frankly, if you really think about it, judging by who he panders to. But still, they wrote, he says that people should not have turned violent because that delegitimized the movement itself. What he and a large part of this privileged class essentially wants is that the marginalized should play by the rules of the society, even if that society has taken everything from them. Trevor Noah explains it best. Society is divided into the haves and the have-nots. People who have say to the have-nots, this is not the right way to handle things. So basically, you're saying that if you deem yourself to be a have-not, if you deem yourself to be someone who has been wronged by society, then looting and violence is fine. Then it's okay.
So you know what? Beautiful. So I will... everything is... we've not even prepared for this shit, but it's like... it is flowing in such a natural way. So let me show this thread now. So I just came across this thread and I was like, wait, what? This is happening in America? So look at this. Seattle's autonomous zone is devolving into warlordism. There is a rapper apparently, Raz Simone, who has been patrolling the barricades with an AK-47 and a handgun, has begun assaulting residents who disobey him. We are the police now. We are the leaders. I'm just showing you. Here is another video. He's allegedly assaulting another protester the same evening.
Wow.
He actually punches. I mean, it's quite clear in the video. I'll take the video forward and he just goes kaboom.
Whoa.
See? Here's the video where they are harassing a woman, the family, and organized prostitution scheme.
Oh my God.
The article, if you want to read it, is on the City Journal.
Oh
basically,
my God.
And
Antifa activists claim first territory. Oh my God.
Yeah, so this is what happens when you see the society. I understand structures are rigged initially.
Yes.
But structures can be reformed. You don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, you idiots. Yeah. Violence is not good.
For any free democratic society, what are some of the fundamentals of any free democratic society? It is respect for law and order and respect for private property. Like those are two of the many fundamentals of a free democratic society. If you take down the fundamentals of the free democratic society, then just become Somalia, man. Just become a Somali pirate, banduk leke dhishkiyan karo jaake kahin boat mein baith ke. I mean, that's what you're asking for essentially. And this is the amazing thing about these Greater Kailash type Delhi people, then Gurgaon people, because I lived with them. I went to school with many of these people when I was in Delhi University. These are the same people who, if they will say, yeah, go burn it down to the ground, guys. Come on, guys, revolution for everybody, guys. And if it happens outside their home, immediately they'll call the police. Hello, police bhaiya, please zara pe idhar police bhej dena bhaiya. Idhar mere ghar ke bahar bhaiya log, kuch log writing kar rahe bhaiya. Mera gin and tonic lana, Ramu kaka, please, thank you. Is tarah ke log hain. These freaking kitty party bastards.
Yeah, but एक और चीज जो मेरे को बिल्कुल पसंद नहीं आई, मतलब this is the level of Indian media. Seriously, I mean, what the hell? They actually wrote an article on this. Why Twitter is flooding with memes of plagiarized food photos.
Oh my God. Why is this news?
वो ऋषि बागरी का तेरे को मालूम है ना, उसने
yeah, I know, but why is this news?
उसके ऊपर ये लोग ने आर्टिकल लिखा.
हे भगवान वेले. News 18 है यार ये. This is News 18.
ये भाई अखंड वेला
टिन पॉट, ये बताइए फैक्ट चेकर,
ये फैक्ट चेकर अखंड वेला, इसने पूरा थ्रेड बनाया,
अरे ऑल्ट न्यूज़ को
इन्होंने वो
कान धंधा
थ्रेड के
नहीं है
ऊपर
क्या
आर्टिकल लिखा। मतलब हमारी मीडिया और ये अखंड वेले, ये कितने वेले हैं
बताइए।
ये तुम्हारा कंटेंट है भैया, ये हमारा इंटेलेक्चुअल लेवल है इस देश का, ये हाल है हमारे।
This is amazing. Now I want we talked about this briefly yesterday, but I think in our last podcast, but I really wanted to show the video because I think the whole world needs to see this. And we discussed about how there was a Artugul statue in Lahore, right? I think last week. But this is the thing I like because I don't think we played the video last week. I really want people to watch this because the more you watch it, the more beautiful it gets. So here it is. So let me just share it with you. Here we go.
अर्तुगरुल इसके हमारे ज़हन में था कि एक इस्लामिक हीरो हमारे गुजरे अर्तुगरुल गाजी, उनको उस नाम से याद किया जाता है, जिन्होंने सल्तनत उस्मानिया की बुनियाद रखी थी। तो उसकी भी एक याद आ रही है और इस वक्त क्योंकि वो चल रहा है सिलसिला और सारे पाकिस्तानी के ज़हन में, हम अभी सोच रहे हैं कि हमारे मैनेजमेंट कमेटी ने फैसला नहीं किया, लेकिन हम शायद इस चौक का नाम ही उनके नाम पे रख दें। उसी सिलसिले में हमने ये इंस्टॉल किया जिसके लोगों ने अप्रिशिएट किया है।
अर्तुगरुल पंजाबी नहीं सी,
हमारी इस्लामी तारीख है, इसका मुजस्मा लगा हुआ है, इनको टीवी में देख
बड़ा कर दे वीडियो को,
हमें इधर देख के बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है इनको।
अर्तुगरुल बहुत ही अच्छे इंसान थे और बहुत ही प्यारा लग रहा है माशाल्लाह, और इनके बादरी के किस्से बहुत ही
अर्तुगरुल बहुत अच्छे इंसान थे। Oh, that's my favorite line, man. That's my favorite line. अर्तुगरुल बहुत अच्छे इंसान थे।
ना अर्तुगरुल को पराठे अच्छे लगते थे खंड दे नाल।
Oh my God.
बड़े बड़े पराठे खांदा सी, ओ पंजाब तो सी।
Oh my God, I love that shit so much. I love that video so much. Punjabis celebrating their Turkish heritage. It's amazing.
ओ यार ये फिर एग्जिट हो गया आज। शाम अपने आप को बार-बार पॉडकास्ट से एग्जिट क्यों करी जा रहा है? दिस इज ओए तू बार-बार अपने आप को एग्जिट
I keep getting kicked off from my own show. What the hell, man? Okay, let me. If you have something you like, if you want to share, but just hold on to that because I'm going to take a couple of super chats really quickly.
हाँ ले ले यार, पता नहीं कोई बोल रहा है उसको जस्टिस
super chat ले लो. Okay, here we go. There's a city. This is from Ashwin Parate. There's a city in all caps. There is a city in Iowa called Maharshi Vedic City, and their ideal language is Sanskrit, and their local currency is Ram, R-A-M-M. Their target is to send 40,000 Vedic scholars in India. Very good. Thanks for putting it in all caps. Though.
ये ट्रम्प का फैन लगता है।
This is from the Trump school of social media. But very good. It's good to hear. I'd actually heard about this Vedic city. I think I saw a video about it in like a travel show that Stephen Fry did back in 2008 or something. Another one is, oh look, this is something for you, Kushal. This is from Harsha Ramamurthy. Kushal Bhai's Rubin Report clip was easily 100 times of what Mr. Akhtar could do in his entire life. Dharmic skepticism inspired me. Shabash Kushal Bhai. So there you go.
चलो बढ़िया, अभी एक काम करो, अपनी जायदाद मेरे नाम लिख दो, इतना मैंने इंस्पायर किया तुमको
तो। कपिल कुमार, लिबरल्स और जावेद अख्तर हमेशा सदगुरु को क्रिटिसाइज क्यों करते रहते हैं? बताइए। Do you have any?
I don't know. Maybe Sadhguru, they like his claims. I mean, I also don't agree with many claims of Sadhguru. I mean, I think his claims on physics are just way out there. But I don't know. I mean, ओ यार मैं इतना जावेद अख्तर को नहीं फॉलो करता और सदगुरु को फॉलो करता, दोनों ही मुझे इतने इंटरेस्टिंग नहीं लगते कैरेक्टर्स।
Yeah, I don't know. I don't follow Javed Akhtar that much either. अबे फिर लोग माय सुपर चैट कर रहे हैं। अभी तो लिया भाई सब सुपर चैट, अभी मैं चेक करता हूँ जाके। और Baki, if you have finally something to share with us, Kushal, something that you like, go
अभी
ahead.
पहले मैं बताऊंगा थिंग दैट आई लाइक 2 हैं, और तुम लोग को लास्ट आज मैं एक धमाके से एंड करूंगा जब शाम का भी हो जाएगा थिंग दैट ही लाइक. सो द
That was my thing that I liked. I just
अच्छा
showed
ठीक है,
you.
तो मैं तुम लोगों को 2 चीजें बताता हूँ पहले. क्या लोग हैं ये इंडिया में ऐसे प्रोटेस्ट क्यों होते हैं? 1 मिनट रुक जा, सॉरी, मेरे को इसका ऑडियो शेयर करना है, ऑडियो शेयर करना चाहिए, सॉरी. ये हमारे देश में इतनी एंटरटेनमेंट है ना जिसका कोई हिसाब नहीं है. देख
ये क्या प्रोटेस्ट है भाई?
वो बोलते हैं जिम खोलो, अपने मसल दिखा रहे वाला.
ये लुधियाना, शाबाश, ये so there are some people who are listening to this. There are some people who are Save Gym, Save Trainers. This is Gym Ekta Welfare Association, and they're doing push-ups on the streets to protest. Gym Ekta Zindabad.
जब मैंने इसको देखा मैं पागल हो गया. बोला
Look at this comment.
दिमाग हक दिए. जब मैंने ये देखा ना, बोला क्या पुशअप मार रहा है यार, क्या डोले देखो, ओए जिम खोलो, ओए पराठे खा खा के मोटा हो रहा हूँ.
This
ये
is
तो
amazing.
मगर ये सबसे अच्छा था. मतलब ये वाले अंकल की लाइफ में इतनी ट्रेजेडी हो गई, इन्होंने ये देखो, ये वाले अंकल है ना, जो ये हमारे अंकल, जो इसको मैं प्ले करता हूँ.
अंकल क्या
गाय
हो गया?
निकाल दी, गाय निकाल दी. अब देख
अंकल कैसे निकलेंगे?
खोती निकाल. ओ देख, ओ देख, ओ देख, ओ देख, ओ देख, ओ देख, ओ देख. ओए 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 चाचा गिर गया. ओए
अरे अफसोस चाचा. Poor guy trying to get out of the nala.
ओ देख, ओ देख, ओ देख, ओ देख.
अरे चाचा, come on. चाचा से नहीं हो रहा.
खुद को गाय तो निकल गई, खुद को नहीं निकाल पा रहा है. बोलता है सालो, मेरे को तो बचाओ, मेरे को निकालो गटर में से.
Oh man. Okay, this is the final super chat. Arjun Yadav is, I think he sent a super chat as well. He said, these web series like Patal Lok, Ghoul, Sacred Games, etc. are having a negative effect on youth mind. For example, the ideology and propaganda. यार मैं तो बस basically यही कहता हूँ कि अगर आपको नहीं देखना तो मत देखो. But other than that, you know, this is their freedom as should be in any free society. They have the freedom to spout nonsense if they want to. And you can't even say that this is inaccurate and this and that, because they'll say, well, this is art, so obviously it's going to be inaccurate. So I don't really know how much you can do about it. The only thing, in my opinion, that you can do about it is look for businesses and look for businessmen who are saying that, "Arey, ye bahut galat taraqi ka ho raha hai," and ask them ki, "Theek hai, if you think this is bad, then fund shows that show the opposite perspective." The only thing you can do is basically fund people who want to make movies from the other perspective, fund shows that want to make shows and TV shows from the other perspective. That is literally the only thing you can do.
The story of the entire internet Hindu movement, to use Sagrika Ghosh's term, is hashtag hum rondu hain. Hum rote rahenge. You don't like a film, make a film. You don't like how Kashmiri Pandit ki pain was shown in Shikhara, अपनी फिल्म बना ले चाचा.
Exactly.
You don't like a book, और खुद की book लिख ले. I did not like a left-wing podcast. Guess what I did? I started my own podcast. Sham did not like what YouTubers were doing.
Yeah.
Sham started his own show. It is a big show now. अबे सालो कुछ काम भी कर लो. सिर्फ और तू नहीं करेगा, और तू नहीं, तो तू क्या कर रहा है?
Yeah.
घर पे बैठे बस गाली. हमको ट्विटर पे बैठ के वो अपनी उंगलियों को, 2 थम्स को ऐसे हिला हिला के दुनिया को दुखी करना है. पता नहीं क्या.
The only way to fight this kind of media is to create your own media. That is the only way. We cannot, in good conscience, try and shut down their freedom of expression. That's not something that we can. Again, it's the cost of living in a free society. अगर हम एक free society में रहना चाहते हैं, we have to pay certain things. Living in a free
Yes.
society is not free. Freedom is not free. That's the old adage, right? Freedom
Yeah.
is not free. तो उसके
And
कुछ payment
freedom
होते हैं.
is for the things you hate to hear, not for the things you like to hear.
Yeah.
That's the real test of freedom of expression. You have to stand for things you hate to hear. You don't like those shows on Netflix, stop watching them.
Yeah. Don't
Watch
give them your
things-
money.
Yeah, and you know what? Give money to people who create good content for you. It's very simple. Boss, you're lazy people. You don't want to do the hard yards.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically it. That's literally the only thing we can do. So yeah, support independent creators and look for creators, directors, script writers, whatever, actors who want to create other kinds of projects and fund them. Unko
Yeah.
bolo ki GoFundMe shuru karo, we will pay you.
Yeah.
So that's how you support these people. Support them. Look, at the end of the day, guys, मैं बोलते बोलते थक गया हूँ, but I don't think मैं कभी भी थकूंगा, honestly. But still, money is power. अगर आपको लोगों को empower करना है, तो उनको monetarily empower करो. Make them financially independent. Financially independent means कोई उनका कुछ अब बिगाड़ नहीं सकता. Now they can say and do whatever they want. And that's the position we need to put these people in. So people say Dalit society को कैसे empower करें? Financially empower करो. Dalit Chamber of Commerce को support करो. Then
Yes.
Stand Up India को support करो. The best way to empower communities is to economically empower them. Get them off of the teeth of the bloody government. That's the
Yes.
best thing that you can do.
And there are many, you know, I mean, वो निखिल राजपूत ने अच्छी डॉक्यूमेंट्री बनाई, मूर्तियां जो चोरी हो रही थी,
Yes.
on blood Buddhas. I mean, watch it, damn it. Pay him money, watch the documentary. उसमें भी बोलो कि यार फ्री का टोरेंट का लिंक दे दो ना.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, yaar. Learn to put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
You put money, you let a Nikhil Rajput make money on his documentary. He will churn out 10 more on that subject because he'll see there is money there. He'll churn out 10 more.
Yeah.
But we don't invest in people and then we say, hi, content नहीं है, हमारे पास content नहीं है.
Exactly.
अबे साले खर्चे ही नहीं करते हो तो content कहाँ से आएगा?
Invest karo, put your money where your mouth is. That's the bottom line at the end of the day. Is Sham
Yeah.
single? No, Sham is not single. Sham is engaged to a very hot environmental scientist. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching today's episode. I appreciate it. Yeah, sorry. I think Kushal has a last word to say,
Yeah.
and we'll take off after that.
See, I think what I'm about to show everyone is the greatest bit of news television that has ever been created in the history of the human race. You have to give credit to Arnab Goswami. Credit where it's due. Arnab is a genius. So, jo main abhi share kar raha hu, and credit to the Pakistani who comes on his show.
Yeah, I know. It's a glutton for punishment.
Yeah, so this is it.
पेड़ के एक पत्ते हो तुम फकर मेरी बात सुनो पाकिस्तानी अरे फकर मेरी बात सुनो एक मिनट मेरी बात सुनो फकर फकर क्यों फकर फकर
क्या मैं
ए फकर 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 ओ फकर फकर मेरी बात सुनो पाकिस्तानी फकर सुनो मेरी बात
सुनो मेरा पाकिस्तानी
मेरी बात सुन फकर
ऐसा
Oh
वैसा
my God.
सुनो मेरी पाकिस्तानी फकर
इधर फकर
as a guy who created a fakar, hey fakar.
सुन फकर इधर आ फकर
मैं पागल हो गया इसको देख के. मैं वेट कर रहा था ये लाइव प्ले करने को.
Sometimes I really do enjoy Arnab's shows. I gotta be honest.
अरे तूने कभी नोट किया जो क्रिकेट की कमेंट्री होती है ना, तो पाकिस्तान में एक बैट्समैन है फखर जमान, तो जो ऑस्ट्रेलियन और ब्रिटिश है फखर जमान करते रहते हैं. Oh God.
Well, that was fun.
Chalo.
All right, I enjoyed that, guys. Thank you very much for watching today's episode. Make sure to leave a like, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you enjoy this channel. If you enjoy this podcast, make sure to subscribe so that you get the next podcast next week as well. leave a comment. Let us know what you think about all the things that we said, whether you agree, whether you disagree, and most importantly, leave your abuses in the comment section as well, so I can read them and feel good about myself. And this will be available as a podcast as well, so keep an eye out for that. Go subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, all the fun things. So go check it out over there as well. Give us a rating. We'll enjoy it. It helps the podcast, obviously, on iTunes as well. And other than that, guys, thank you very much. We'll see you next weekend. Suggest your topics to us on social media on at SHAMBHAV15, and Kushal's is
Kushal_Mehra.
Kushal_Mehra. There you go. So give us your suggestions on social media as well, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.